Okay, so this was a Youth Day presentation at a venue in St. Elizabeth, Jamaica, and we were glad to be there to encourage the youths. So enjoy the video and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a beat. So at this time, we're gonna go straight into the video. Please watch to the end. This is something that you don't want to miss. God bless.
All right. So good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
Yes, wonderful. Well, normally when I don't hear the good afternoon, it's not normally I often ask again, but I think that was very much a warm good afternoon, right? That is what I expect from young people.
Yes.
Because we're all young people here.
Yes.
And young people are, as the Bible said, they are strong.
Right. Yes.
Right? That's why the scripture said he called upon them because they are strong. Know it? So, as you know, in the introduction, my name is Mr. Green. I am, just a correction, I'm not certified electrician. I'm a licensed electrician.
Right.
Now, we will get into that a little later on in my presentation. What is the difference between a certified and a licensed electrician? Right? I'm also a former teacher, high school teacher. I did that for several years at the high school, where I taught the extra installation. I have a few very, very nice successes. I have a few 100% passes and all that. And get my awards. But after a while, I realized that having a skill as an electrician is a very marketable skill. And I don't know if I missed the introductory greetings. I greet all of you. I don't know who is a pastor here. I didn't tell I got Pastor C. Green. Who's Pastor C. Green?
Bless you, bless you.
Oh, you're Pastor C. Green. Okay. So we have the same surname, right?
Yes.
I don't know if we are related.
We are. Even if we don't have the same surname, we are related.
Okay, alright, well, it's Green for Green today, right?
Yes.
And I greet Miss Anita Harrison, and she mentioned that I used to be her scout leader back in the days. Myself and Mr. Wallace around back there. Happy to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, I used to be a scout leader as well. We used to run scouting very nice and very exciting. Back in the day, man, time flies so fast. Right? And that's exactly what I want to talk to you young people about today. The essence of time. We're young. And there's not much time to really decide what you really want to do. You wait on your idle time and all that kind of stuff. The time waits on nobody. Before you know it, you'll be remembering that you were in this meeting and 20 years have passed and it happened like just yesterday. I can promise you that.
Yes.
Right? Because time flies so fast. So when I got this invitation, I said, I look at the letter and I said, yes, this is something I want to participate in.
Yes, amen.
Because speaking to young people, it's really my pleasure. I'm a young man as well, but if we check today's society, young people are declining.
Yes.
Right? And
The ancient ones.
when you look at what's happening on the news, I'm very, very, very disappointed. I can't believe it. What a fights we are break out. Is one and stab up someone, sometimes they stab each other to death. Right? And that is really bad. The internet, the pornography and all that kind of stuff, and that's always a great talk. We hit the nail right on the head.
Yes.
Right? So young people are declining, and therefore seminars like this, and I really think a lot more will be here, I don't know. But seminars like this are very, very important to remind the young folks that look, something positive can be discussed and motivate you to participate in something that's very useful and can benefit you in the long run. Right? So, let me talk a little bit about my entrepreneurial things, and then we'll talk about the side hustle in a little while. Right? So, as an electrician, right? In today's society, or in Jamaica, many times folks look at an electrician as somebody who just run wires and you connect plugs and you call them when something is wrong, the light is not working, your iron not work and all that kind of stuff. But an electrician is more than that. Now there's a difference between, as I said earlier, between a certified electrician and a licensed electrician. A certified electrician, he go through the requisite training, with heart and all of that, and you get him level 1 or level 3, and he goes all the way up to level 5. The law stipulates that in order for you to actually practice electrical work, you must have the government's approval.
Yes.
And the approval of the government is that you must have an electrical license. Right, so every electrician that works, if he doesn't have a license and just a certificate, then he or she is working illegally. And a lot of people don't know that. And there are consequences, penalties that can be given if a person is caught working without doing electrical work without a license and all of that. And the penalty is $2 million or maximum of 2 years imprisonment. That's how serious the government takes it, and a lot of people don't know this. Well, we know in Jamaica, sometimes we see a man, but that's not because everybody try to hustle them thing. But it's very serious, and the government takes it very serious because electricity is something that you cannot see. And I was doing, this presentation and a previous presentation that I did, and I was telling young people that when you're dealing with something that you cannot see, then the right necessary authority and the right packages must be given to you to practice it safely and to do it properly so you don't burn down people's house, right? And recently we've seen a lot of fires. I think there's a house in Balaclava which I was called to my attention to have it evaluated if it is an electrical fire or not, because I think they're trying to get either some insurance claim or something like that. And basically, if your house is insured and it's wired and it's burned down, and basically it was.
Alright, so what we're seeing here is basically, if your house is not wired by an electrician, it may become very, very difficult for you to actually get an insurance claim. Alright, so you have to ensure that we do the right thing, and it's back to the video again.
Running my own electrical company is that you don't necessarily, once you have your license.
So one of the good things of having an electrical license is that you don't necessarily have to register your electrical company. You're authorized to have persons to work for you, so it saves you the hassle, and that is very, very, very nice. So it's back to the video again. Let's go.
So you do everything that a company does basically without have to go through a registration. And in doing so, it kind of makes your life a little bit more easier. You don't have to be playing, because if you register a company, you have to have a GCT and all type of taxes. So that's the part that I love the most in being licensed, right? So the question is, how do you become licensed? Let me go into that a little bit now, right? As this is what this is about. Let's see. So first and foremost, you must complete.
So one of the first things you need is basically a level 3 certificate, whether it's from Hart or a similar institution. You can go all the way up to level 5, but level 3 is basic. So come on, electricians, let's not waste any time. It's time to master your skill and get yourself certified to start the process of getting your electrical license. Alright, we have to be the best you can be. And it's back to the video again.
Then you need at least 5 years of practical experience under the supervision of a licensed electrician, right? And he or she is going to be the one who actually recommend you to the board and then recommend you to sit that exam. Once you're recommended, then now the exam is 2 parts. You have the written side and you have an interview side. Now, the written side of it, basically you have to know, there's a Jamaican electrical code we go by, what we call it, JS316, right? So the JS316 is the basically code telling you how to wire stuff and what measurements to use, what kind of wires to use, because we know that, I'm not going to say we know, but I'm just advising the guys. There are certain wires that are made for certain things. There are certain wires, as the fans in church here and all of that spin. Now there are certain type of wires which electricians must use in order for them to get them to work to the period of time that the manufacturer make it to work. Now, let's say for instance, that fan is built to last, for example, 10 years. If the wrong wire is used and is not recommended and the right calculations are not followed, then you will have an electrician wire it down and it will work. But if it lasts 10 years, you may find out after 1 year the fan top spin. I ask them, man, everybody has to say a Chinaman something, or everybody has turned to Indians and nowadays and say, alright, we're going to India and buy one cheap fan. But did you know that not every one of those things that they sell are really bad? The problem is 90% of the time, the house is either incorrectly wired or the wrong wire is used. Why? It was not done by somebody who have the know-so and follow the code the right way to wire that device and the wire from the Indian. Because when I go and check it as a technician and I look, and I say, man, say the wiring and the thing when you use one thing, right? And I say, look here, you can't guarantee you say, alright, you mash up already. I have a different one, and I go wire it. And when you wire it, you find out that same chip for the buyer from the Indian or Chinaman, you find out that they lost the exact time when the manufacturer said it's supposed to be lost. You understand? Because the right procedures are followed. Right? So that's what I want to advise the young people. If you're gonna engulf, you don't have to be engulfed in electrical, but I'm just speaking from my standpoint because that's what I do. So anything that you're doing, you want to ensure that one, you get the right training to do it, to do it the right way. You don't want nobody else to say, look, you just watch and learn and you watch somebody do it and they show you how to do it. No. If there's a school available that do the course, go there and get the written side of it correctly. Right? You get it correctly and then you learn the practical side because they go both hands in hand. You have both the theoretical aspect of it and you have the practical aspect of it and you learn it, all together and it combines to make you marketable. Me, as Mr. Green, sometimes I'm not here, sometimes I'm overseas. And it's because I love my country, really and truly why if I go overseas and I do work, I work in Cayman Islands and different countries at times because I'm qualified to work in the United Kingdom. All of those countries I have qualifications in. But I decided to be here most of the time because, this is one thing I look at. And I have to think clearly about it because I'm live on TikTok right now. So I want to ensure that I say it properly. But if we realize as young people, or Jamaicans, every single, or most nations right now, the Chinese, the Indians, the Americans, because even though the Americans I understand that the application for citizenship, to get citizenship in Jamaica is now flooding the government of Jamaica from Americans to come here and live. And the question is why? And the reason is Jamaica have a lot to offer. And I'm wondering to myself, and I look at it and say, how is it that we Jamaicans, we are trying to run away from here, but the Chinese are running to here, they own the wholesale, they own the furniture shop, and then the funny thing that pains me is that when they open these shops, who they employ? Jamaicans. We are the ones who are mopping the floor. We are the ones who are packing the shelf and they push it around and say, you're going to take up that, and then they give you minimum wage in your own country. Now, the problem is, it's not the Indians that are coming here and the Chinese that are coming here. The problem is us. We are not taking the stance to actually be somebody who wants to own something for ourselves and run it honestly. And why I say honestly? If I am selling bread, and this is something I've noticed over the years, if I am selling bread, Chinaman are selling bread, and the Indian are selling bread. Remember now, me and Jamaica, and they come here. Now, all of us and every entrepreneur is supposed to know the market where you can get the cheapest supply from. And the Chinaman know that, the Indian know that. Now, all of us buy from the same supplier. But when we come and see the bread, we say, yo, me can sell the bread for $100. Like a triple the price. Jamaica, yeah. This is what we do. Yeah. So, we sell the bread for $300. The Chinaman will come from all the way. In China. You know how far China is? To go to China, you gotta route through America, then you go there, so you come back. And that's very far, but you fly from all the way in China. And the man from India fly all the way from India. Come down here. And he said, no, sir. Now I said, if you know, to Trinidad, I'm trying to talk like that here. But then I said, for that, they said, all right, give me, if you come with $100, I said, and he said, all right. So you want $100? I said, look, I have 60. And he said, yes, I will take it. And you find out that Indian sell 10 bread for the day, while you wait for to sell just one. The children now. And if you realize that they are the one who are prospering, and the Jamaican, very soon that business closed down, and there's a people back mind. You are the problem. So what is beating our countrymen and our countrywomen is made of this honesty to our own brothers and sisters. We hold the one another too much. And like we describe it as chronic barren. So if you see Alex man rise, instead of supporting him, we try to pull him back down and say, look, you want him to go on too much, to show off and all that kind of stuff. And that is what is beating. And as young people, I don't want none of us in here to have that kind of mentality, because you are the future of Jamaica. All the politicians, and this is not red or orange or green talk, because very soon Andrew Holness will be no more, Mark Golden will be no more. It's gonna be somebody who's younger than them that's gonna have to take over. So if young people are the future, we have to instill the discipline and the mindset for the young people to think of themselves of somebody working to can actually run a business honestly and encourage each other. Because if you study the Chinese, all of them work together. I've never seen a Chinese man and a Chinese man across yet. Never. I've never seen it. Nope. We go in and we rob each other with it. If we see man start a business and the business going, we start studying how to rob him. And this is the mentality of Jamaicans right here. And I've observed over the years. You understand? And until the day we stop this, then Jamaica will never be better. I mean, politicians can campaign all they want and tell the prosperity and this one. When this one's the time come, it will never happen until the mentality of the people down here change. And the politicians know this. And because they realize the mindset of the young people and the mindset of the people in the country, they can't really talk, you know. But if the mindset of the people don't change, they know there's nothing they can do. But nevertheless, they know that government must go on and they need your vote. So they come around and they say, all right, boom. You know, so they're not changing. They say, let us go around and promise them something. So they come out to encourage them to vote for me. Because we need the power. We need the control of the country. So we just come over and tell them something. But the change, young people here in Goshen, it lies with the decision you make for yourself. Yes. Right? The GDP, which is the gross domestic product. The correct, right? Yes. So we have to really talk about this, and this is all about entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship is basically having that type of mindset in the country here to do your own business or something that increase the productivity, of the country, right? So encouraging entrepreneurship, it increases the GDP because the country is producing locally, right? So basically, in order for the GDP to actually go up, we cannot continue as a country with the mentality that, you know, when I left school, I just want to basically be a scam because I want to get rich quick.
That's all I do.
You know, because nobody wants to sit down and start a little shop somewhere. I mean, I'm not saying, I'm not wrong with shopping. Ain't nothing wrong with running a wholesale, because whether you know it or not, it's that so when you go wholesale, if you know the amount of money it brings per day, you'll be surprised. Some of those wholesales, because I've maintained a lot of them. And I remember I was rewiring one, I think somewhere in Santa Cruz or somewhere up here. And I said, I watched the money, but I was there working. And I would sit and I watch for one whole day.
And for that one day, I think that little wholesale, as small as it is, made over $200,000 in one day. And I'm like, that is like some people salary for the entire month. Some people don't see that for the entire year. So, running a shop on a wholesale is not a downfall. It doesn't mean that you're uneducated. No. Because if the Chinese man come here and do it, and you have to fly for so far to run a wholesale, then why cannot Jamaican do it? So if I have school and I say I want to start a meat shop, I want to start a wholesale, that is nothing for none of us to look down on, and that's the problem. Pride and all that kind of stuff have taken over the young people and have taken over the people of this country. So instead we go open a shop, we don't sit up by the ends. And because I want to relative from foreign and say, make something now. And so that's why the politicians come around in election time, they kind of slide on 5,000 here, and you say, Bob, yeah man, you have your vote. Why you're not trying to for yourself? And this is the problem. So young people, we don't want you to have that mentality. Have the mentality to want to do something for yourself. If you start a shop, if you start a little business, you know, you take a time, it won't grow overnight. Not everything, because on everybody, in fact, I don't know who in St. Elizabeth, or many of us in Jamaica. I don't know many of us who born, I don't know who born rich, apart from those who related to higher up people, you know. All of us, or many of us in here, come from humble beginnings. I come from humble beginnings. I was, born wealthy. I'm to classify myself as wealthy. I just can't help myself. Yes, you understand me? I just can't help myself. I'm doing the thing. Right, so, a business, it takes time to grow. And you will have times when that business, sometimes things will get slow. You may have a time when nobody now come and you say, boy, I wonder what you do wrong, and and nobody think that nobody will be you. Because some people think, look, if you don't go on a somebody sprinkle something, I'm a shop card and all that kind of stuff. I pull me down. So you start, our next man and get 20% and start throwing your shop. And all that foolishness, that's the Jamaican mentality. We have to get that foolishness out of our mind. Because everything about time, even the Bible said, everything, there's a time and a season for everything under the sun. Yes. So we have to get a mentality. We are doing a business and every time it will take off. It takes time, but your passion and your determination, and you make every dollar count. If you make $1,000 today, you give thanks and you thank the Lord for it, and you make 2,000, and over time, it slowly starts evolves. You start employing one person, then 2 persons, and then 3 persons. Before you know it, starts swelling. Just ensure that you do your job honestly, and you love your employees, and you try to work together. Right? Because even me, when I just started out as a teacher, I started to work at in the high school and teach electrical, and I was there doing electrical as a side hustle. Now your side hustle basically, that after hours, after your 9 to 5, and I was trying that for a little while. After school, I would do my little one projects, and if I have a little one house to I said, all right, I'm a teacher, so me come in the afternoon. But side hustle is good. But at the same time, you have to sort of evaluate yourself. If I'm doing a side hustle, why am I doing it? Because a side hustle is something that you do for yourself. So, am I doing it just to survive? Or am I doing it so I'm accumulating the money to ensure that the side hustle now won't turn into my own personal hustle where I can leave my 9 to 5? Because remember, the 9 to 5, you're fulfilling somebody else's dream. So if you work at the Ministry of Education or you work for somebody, that's your 9 to 5, but that's their business and you're the employee. So therefore, you are now working for them, but you're fulfilling their dream. So your side hustle, what's the purpose? Am I doing it for? Is it that 9 to 5 is not paying me as much? Or is it, am I doing it because I want to accumulate the money plus the 9 to 5 to make sure that I go big when I start my thing, to finance my own enterprise? So you're not just encourage side hustle because of side hustle sake. Because if you're just doing it for survival, you're just basically living hand to mouth. And then the side hustle doesn't make no sense Because suppose the boss fire you tomorrow. Is the side hustle enough to cushion you in your downtime when the boss fire you for your 9 to 5 and all of that? Because remember, if you just survive, you just a match. Because if you just a survivor, then basically you're just doing it to actually, with the 9 to 5 to pay your bills and something, because the 9 to 5 is not enough. That's just for survival. So if you fire tomorrow, then you just live for the side hustle alone. And then that definitely not going enough, and you're going to find yourself in a financial struggle and problem here. So side hustles is something that you have to look into deeply. What I think, you shouldn't do it unless you really have a full agenda of a plan in place. You cannot do side hustle without a plan. When I was doing it, I had a plan in place. While I was teaching, I was doing my side hustles as an electrician, and I said, look, I'm just testing the grounds to see how well I can do for myself while I'm teaching. Using the ministry money to take care of my main bills, but the side hustle that I'm using to build my clientele to that person who said that me do. And then I realized that the craft of my hands as an electrician that God has blessed me with, I realized that I am able enough to actually gain a certain amount of clientele. And I said, look, I think I'm going to make a big step now. So I sent in my resignation to the Ministry of Education and tell them that unfortunately I will not be continuing my services. I'm going to have to, take my resignation out of the, whole education scenario. And I start doing my own electrical stuff. Started off with me alone. So I used to go to sites and, I used to go to site and use the jack on myself, jack on the wall, and then we mix the sugar and flash it myself and put it in the wire myself and all that kind of stuff. It was tiring, but I had a vision in mind. And when I get the money, I start buying tools, and I used to have a few tools that I bought, for my salary as a teacher, but I started even buying more tools. And I started expanding my thing on, until I started to employ one person. And then it slowly grew, and it took years, took a little time. And employ one person, and 2 person, and 3 person. Now, roughly about 10 person that work under my charge. Right? And it's still growing. Persons are still calling me from work, persons from TikTok. I have to put them on board and say, whenever I do the work in your side, and I'll basically let you know, and all that kind of stuff. So, and it has grown. And the step that I've taken, it has taken me overseas. Working in Cayman Islands, I have a permit and everything. And, and I'm still doing my stuff, elevating myself as an electrician, growing, and, I'm currently doing my masters and all of that. So, the sky is the limit, young people. The sky is the limit. You should never, anything you're doing, never limit yourself to how far you can go. If you start a shop, think of the shop in the back of your head. Say, look, this shop can turn into a supermarket. And this supermarket can turn, if not only a location in St. Louis, but it can be a location in Kingston, it can be a location in St. Anne's, entire Jamaica, and even overseas. My future plan, and I don't mind sharing my future plan with nobody, but my future plan is not only to have electrical enterprise going on here, I'm looking to stretch it overseas as well. And that's my long-term goal. And by the help of Christ, I'm determined to get there. And in fact, I'm already making lanes to actually have that possible done. And that's how I see myself. And if every single Jamaican, and I want to say this in closing, if every single Jamaican can think of themselves as somebody virtuous and that, look, I am not a gruff. I am not a fully done. And that's another thing that God of the Spirit. That song that came up the other day, and I'm not a dancehall person, that fully does madness. It's sick in my spirit so much that the young people gravitate to that song until they build some school bag or fight and the young people. It was a seal to imagine till even the minister said, no, we can't wait back on school now. Right. But this fully done song that gives the children pride in being dance. There is no pride, young people, in being done. So I don't know what that artist was doing, and I'm not getting at the artist for writing a song, but you have to be very careful when you write a song, the kind of message that you bring towards young people. Because dance is nothing to be proud of. No. It's nothing to be proud of. You must be able to read and write, especially you're young, you're not sick. Oh, come on. No fully dance already. So if every Jamaican
can look into themselves and consider, who am I? Have I been born into this country to be a statistics that police will haul and pull? Have I born myself, have I been born into this country to consider myself as a statistic of teenage pregnancy, and before you know it, you're pregnant while in school and you say a mistake. And then now, alright, you say a mistake one time. Before you know it, 3 years after you're pregnant again. Yes. So a mistake happened twice. Can you imagine that? A mistake happened twice, and then before you know it, 3 more years you're pregnant again. 3 that now. 3 mistakes. Come on, Jamaica, man. We all need to wake up as a nation and realize that it is the change does not lie with politicians. It lies with the people of Jamaica. Right, so I want to leave that out with you. Be encouraged in anything you do. Any single thing you do. You know, it was so funny that Anissa called me earlier when she came here about one something. I said, Mr. Green, when I think of somebody come here, I'm going to see nobody. I said, Anissa, Jesus Christ, man. I said, have faith, man. Because look here. I said, number one Jamaican, no time. Have faith. So that's what you all have to have. Believe in yourself. Me, I have met so many disappointments in life. You'll be so much imagine the amount of disappointment I've made. But the determination that I have, sometimes my wife, you understand me sometimes. Yes, I'm a married man. But you will not see me that ring. Because, the church that we go to, we don't believe in weird rings. Right? But sometimes my wife can understand me sometimes. Because when I decided that, look, I'm going to do something, she said, are you sure? But we can't say, wait, I go work. We say, worry yourself. Once we see it. Because the Bible says, faith is evidence of things not seen. And, it's something like that. I think so far the evidence of things so not seen. Something like that, right? So I see it, and I'm going to move towards it, and I'm going to depend on God to get me there. Right? Yes. So, in closing, how much time is it going to close before But I can tell I'm really putting it to you guys. I want you guys to really understand. So I don't think I might discuss the part about how to become a licensed electrician, right? I'm discussing already. Yes, and I did talk about the interview, the written part of the interview. So as I said, when you get recommended to sit the exam, you actually you go to the written part, which asks you. The written part is basically asking any electrical theoretical questions, and you must be able. That's why you have to study for it, and you have to answer those. You have to pass the written part to do the interview. Now the interview, they actually have you by the board of examiners. I think the minister of one of the ministers from the parliament is there, one of them, our representative is there, and they ask you 5 electrical questions randomly. Now you have to study enough, which is why licensed electricians are to be respected, because we have to study the thing and know it, because when those 5 random questions come, if you don't know what to say, God help you, you ain't gonna get that license. So when they ask you, you must be able to answer it correctly. When I was doing mine, they asked me the 5 of them, and when the man realized, how fast me answer it and all that kind of stuff. When I was supposed to be finished, the man said, no, Mr. Green, I have a bonus question for you. I said, well, this prayer has stressed out from all that kind of stuff. It's nerve-wracking enough to be in an interview like that. Plus, you have a bonus question for you. But he asked me anyways, and I just laid it to him. He asked me what is the function of a centrifugal switch. Which is a switch I use in motors, electric motors and all that. And that was a 1-2 for me. I just wrapped it to my kid, and he put out the behind for me. He couldn't imagine I could answer it like that. And then they say, alright. And I knew from the answer that I would have got my license to we have answered the question and everything. And God bless me to have it. And I've been practicing with it from ever since. And from time to time I have to get it renewed, and that's how it works. So I want to say all to you, thanks for listening. And I hope your heart have been encouraged. Remember, going overseas is good. I myself, I'm a traveler myself, I travel a lot and, I experience a lot of things overseas, but my mind is always set to Jamaica. You may not know. When I go to like the United States and so on, you'll be surprised how people talk about Jamaica. One of my friends in the United States, he said, Ramon, you cannot go to the Caribbean and don't go to Jamaica. He said, Jamaica is the hub of the vibe and the way guys have the, Jamaica is a brand. Everybody, if you go to the United States, they love it here. Understand me? So we cannot want to run away. I'm seeing how Donald Trump and those persons are deporting Jamaicans and all that kind of stuff. We don't have to do all that kind of stuff if we have the right mindset on yourself. I tell you, a lot of money there in Jamaica, we don't know. We need to study sometimes the government, them something where they have and the audits or something and see what the money down here. And we need to put the right things in place to utilize it and all that kind of stuff. Because the money is here, but the people, what is not here is the mindset of the people. But anyways, God bless you. Take this word into consideration. God will you all. Thank you.
Alright, so this is the end of the video, folks, and it was well received by the young people. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and support the channel for more content. God bless.